Hi.
Hi.
So, welcome to Supposedly. I'm Rue.
I'm Jessie. Thank you
Did we
guys for joining us today.
did we do that? I don't remember how to open this.
I think we just say welcome to Supposedly, and then
Oh.
I ask you like how you've been doing, and is there anything you're reading or watching right now?
Oh, okay. Well,
Anything topical?
we were on leave all last week, and Darnell has pretty much rewatched all of Game of Thrones, and I was privy to a lot of that. So,
Ooh, that's awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I haven't rewatched it since it all ended.
I finally watched Chernobyl on HBO.
Oh, I haven't yet, and it's a shame that I haven't because that is my favorite disaster.
I love that you have a favorite disaster.
I'm very
I am my
attached.
own favorite disaster. It's good. I liked it.
Nice.
I think I have like one episode left to go. I binged like 3, and then I was starting to get a little depressed because it's quite the show. It's
I would
great,
imagine.
but it
Yeah.
is a very heavy subject matter. So I was kind of like, maybe I'll just take a break and watch New Girl for a bit.
There you go. I actually wrote a whole paper on the radioactive wolves of Chernobyl.
Really?
I did.
I feel like that's a topic you need to bring to Supposedly.
It was pretty cool. I was pretty pissed about my grade because I went over the page limit and got marked down for that. He was like, "It's a great paper, you just wrote too much." And I was like, "There is no such thing as writing too much. I will write a thesis and you will like it." And he didn't agree. So,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, but it's a very Rue fashion to get marked down for writing too much. That's happened to me more than once.
I love that. That is very you.
It is very me. Yeah. But yeah, we went to Berlin last week. I feel like I
How
should
was
follow up
it?
on that. It was amazing. It has changed my concept of this whole country.
Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, so you have to realize that we live in the tiniest of little villages. And like to the point that I have pretty much given up on trying to learn German because they don't really speak German here. They speak like grandpa dialect of German.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's a very small town. It's very rural. It's very middle of nowhere old folks. And Berlin is like the vegan capital of the world, which I'm not vegan, but just to give you kind of an understanding of who we're dealing with compared to old grandpas, it's like young punks who are angry and very social justice oriented. I was like, I'm home.
I love it. So what
Yeah.
did you do while you were in Berlin?
Honestly, not that much. We, of course, walked around and saw some of the sites, Checkpoint Charlie and part of the wall. Had lunch with a friend who I have known for a million years, and we like
It just happened to be in
reconvened.
Berlin?
Yeah, well, they moved out to Berlin a couple years ago, like well, they've lived in Europe for a while, but originally from New York. So I just collect the best people from New York.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I should have asked if they'd ever seen Bigfoot in their apartments growing up.
You should have. And did you get to touch the Berlin Wall?
We did not, but also I just tried not to touch most things due to the germs.
Well, that's very fair right now.
Yeah, but no, I got to drink
Very
some
fair.
beer that hasn't like been around for 600 years, and that was a great
Wow.
time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, the beer here is, while quite good from a technical standpoint, it is like Germans take their beer so seriously that especially where I live in the old folks town, it is literally the recipe that's been around since like 1400. So
Oh,
it's
that's cool. See, I'm not a beer
good.
drinker, but I would try it just because of the history.
Yeah, the history's cool. It's boring though. I was so excited to have like a sour. I was like, "Oh yeah, beer that hipsters made. I've missed you."
Craft beer.
Yes. Yes. No, it was a great time though. We will definitely be back.
That's
Hopefully next
amazing.
time ghost tours will be happening again because we definitely wanted to have that happen. But alas, the COVIDs.
The COVIDs. Speaking of ghost tours, we had a little
Ooh.
bit of a gym possible sighting at
Yeah,
my
you
house.
texted me about that
I
and then never
did.
followed up. So I've been anxiously waiting with bated breath to hear more.
Because why tell you via text when I can tell you on Supposedly? Okay, I would have to have Christy come in and tell it because I was not here for it.
Mhm.
But basically, she was watching her granddaughter the other night, or both of her granddaughters,
Mhm.
and they were kind of hanging out in the playroom, and Christy stepped out of the room to go get something, and Skylar, the older one, who's 4 years old, she asked, can I go say hi to Jessie? And Christy said, Jessie isn't here, sweetie. She's working overnight tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, but I just saw her walk towards her room wearing her big boots. And Christy said, no, she's not here. And then Skylar got really freaked out and very adamant that no, she saw someone walk towards my room wearing boots. So Christy freaked out a little bit and went and checked. And of course, no one was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked to Skylar a little more. And Skylar had said that the person kind of walked off in the direction. So there's a hallway in the bedroom. I'm trying to describe our house. My bedroom and Christy's bedroom are across from each other.
Yeah, it's like a hallway.
Yeah, it's a hallway with 2 bedrooms across from each other. And Skylar said it walked towards my room, but then it kind of veered off towards Christy's. But apparently it was kind of like a tall, thin woman, which is news to us.
What?
Yeah. So Christy texted me saying, hey, Skylar saw Jim, and I immediately went, what? Oh my God. And then it kind of came out that she saw kind of like a woman's legs, and I'm like, that's news. Does Jim have a girlfriend?
Maybe. That's kind of cool.
Also, I don't have boots that were described. She described them as the boots that Corlin's mother wears.
Oh, okay, that's very specific.
It is very specific.
All right.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
There is a cat next to me trying to pull a candy wrapper or a granola wrapper out. So he's about to make a big mess, and I'm sure you guys are going to hear that.
When is there not a cat next to you getting up to some shenanigans, though?
If I'm at home, never. I mean, there's never not a cat.
Yeah,
next
pretty
to me
much.
doing something. They flock to me. It's weird.
Pretty much. Anything else exciting happening in your world?
Well, I started a new book.
Oh?
Yeah. It is called Home Before Dark by Riley Sager.
Nice.
My bad.
Okay.
I've read a couple of her books before. She does kind of like horror books. This one is about kind of a family that lived in kind of like an Amityville horror-style house.
Okay, cool.
And then went on to write a book. But the girl doesn't remember living in this house because she was very young at the time.
Uh-huh.
And when her father passes, he leaves the house to her. And she didn't even know that he still owned it. So she decides to go in and renovate the whole thing. And then, of course, she's faced with things from her past showing up. So
it sounds kind of Haunting of Hill Housey.
I haven't ever watched
Oh,
Haunting of Hill
you
House
should. That's your homework.
No.
Too spooky?
You know, I don't mind like thriller horror movies.
Yeah.
But some horror movies just are too creepy for me.
Okay.
Like a lot of jump scares freak me out.
Yeah.
Ghosts, I won't sleep for like weeks, which is weird for me to say considering I live in a house that
the whole point of your
one.
podcast and that you have ghosts, and yeah.
I know. I have one ghost and apparently a visitor. I don't know.
Conjugal ghost visits.
I hope not. I don't want to take care of any conjugal ghost babies that are left.
Oh, God.
Because of that.
Okay, so what was that book called? I want to write it down.
Oh, it's called Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, Sager. I keep messing it up because I knew someone in school named Riley Sager.
Ah, cool. I actually, if we're doing book club,
let's
read
do some book club.
a book last week on my drive. Well, I wasn't driving while reading, but while I was being driven.
That would be a very you thing, though.
I can't say that at 16 I didn't try it, but don't do it. And I'm very lucky that I haven't died many, many times in my life. But no, it's called Dread Nation.
Okay.
By Justina Ireland.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
Freaking good. Okay, so this year I've gotten super into Afrofuturism.
Cool.
So Dread Nation is basically that in the Confederate War, the zombie apocalypse began.
Cool. It kind of goes along with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I was thinking
about
that.
Not to call back to that again, but
I know that's been a hot topic lately. But no, it was super good because it looked at what Reconstruction would look like through the eyes of and now there's zombies, and Black people are not treated well, and they are sent to these boarding schools to learn how to fight zombies and become attendants, and there's these badass Black girls who become these attendants for rich white ladies and kill zombies, and it's all about this one spirited girl who just takes care of business. It was a good read, and I'm about to read the sequel, and I loved it. So
That's awesome. I'll probably try to check that out. I'm stuttering today. I'm very tired this morning, or this night for you. Um, I started watching the Hunger Games again.
oh, okay.
I'm trying to do a movie marathon of the Hunger Games right now, and I'm up to the Quarter Quell one.
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't read the books.
Okay.
I probably should, because I feel like watching the movies, I feel like I'm missing a ton of stuff. It's kind of like, who's that person? Wait a second.
The books are a lot better. I mean, I know that's the cliche, but you get a lot more of the side characters, because it's like, cool, she just killed some dude that she didn't like, I guess, and I don't know why she didn't like him other than he's her opponent, but you get a lot more like of the,
Well, I do the Harry Potter movie marathon once a year where I watch all of them through, and then, I don't know, I was just like, hey, I've never done that with Hunger Games, so maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know the new book just came out, too.
There's a new Hunger Games book?
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but yes, it came out a month or two ago.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Supposedly's Book Club edition.
Look, it's quarantine. We have nothing else to do. Yeah. So I guess we should probably tell some stories. So I have a story today.
Ooh, what'd you bring?
So it's kind of, I don't know how to start this. I've been mulling this over a lot. This is all I've been thinking about this week.
Okay.
So I don't really know how I start it, but so the story that I'm doing today is inspired by true events.
Okay, inspired by true events, but
like in my life.
Oh. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I may change how I do this in editing, but here's how I'm going to do it for you. I think I'm going to tell you the story that happened to me, and then I'll get into my notes. But I may switch in editing. Okay, so.
Sorry, let me stop chewing this Cheez-It.
You're fine. It's all right. Cheez-It ASMR again.
I don't feel good. I'm going to take some NyQuil when I get done with this.
I'm sorry.
Allergy season has been just the worst here this year.
It's been really rough here, too. And, it's been rough, especially because, this is my first season with it. So I don't have any immunities. I've just been, raw honey left and right.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good idea. I have some of that. I should do that.
Because it helps if the closer local you get it, the better. Because it's got, any is helpful because it puts a coating on your throat, but if you can get it super local, it almost works like a vaccine.
Really?
Because the bees pull pollen from the plants that are right near you that are bothering you, and then the way that their bodies convert it into honey is like getting a dose of that pollen in a way that helps your body build up an immunity.
Holy freaking crap! Where's that information been my whole life?
I am your Baba Yaga in the German wilderness.
Well, thank you, German wilderness Baba Yaga. Mm-hmm. Actually, my old roommate just had her first harvest of honey from some bees she got, and she has quite a lot she's going to be selling, so maybe I'll hit her up because she doesn't live far away and be like, give me that good stuff.
Yeah, you definitely should. That helps me immensely. If you can get it within 50 miles of where you're at, you're golden.
Freaking genius. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So, my story. Okay. So, on Monday, we decided to go to a local lake.
A lake?
Yeah. Just a normal little lake. Yeah, it was going to be super nice. I'd been there once before with some friends. Darnell had never gone. So it's cool. So it's this nice little peaceful lake. They have an area where little kids can play, and you can also rent stand-up paddle boards and pedal boats and all sorts of stuff.
Christy and I have been paddleboarding a lot lately.
Really?
Yeah, she has a set of inflatable paddle boards.
Cool.
And I just ordered one that should be arriving by the 11th. But we freaking love it. There's a little lake by our house we do that at.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we rent a paddle board. Or we rent each boards, and it's super chill, whatever. And so we're just in the middle of the lake, whatever, like you do. And I am a total water baby. I love to be in the water.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew how to swim before I knew how to walk. It is
You
just
might have
like,
noticed from some of the reoccurring themes I do on here that I am as well.
yeah. No, it's like if I were in the Avatar universe, I would be a waterbender. 100%. Anyways, so I love to swim. I'm a great swimmer. Like, that is my 100% where I'm the strongest at. Like, I like to run. I suck at running. My asthma just can't do that kind of movement very successfully, but
Mhm.
I can swim for hours. So I'm like out, I'm standing up. I am like hearing Moana songs in my head as I like row.
Yep.
I'm like, away, away. Yeah, it's great. Uh, Darnell's behind me, and he's a little nervous. He'd never been paddleboarding before.
I just would love to see him on a paddleboard
Yeah.
trying.
Uh-huh. Yep.
He would be funny.
Yeah. And so I convince him to stand up because he's a skateboarder. So I'm like, oh, his center of gravity's good. His balance is there.
Not the same.
It's not the same, no. But I was like, oh, he's got the coordination that I think he'll be able to figure it out. Then I was like, using that skill, I think he'll be able to learn to translate it. So life's cool. I'm probably 15 yards ahead of him, whatever. And he loses his balance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And because he was trying to sit back down, and I was like, here's how you should sit down, get into like your tabletop yoga position, and then cross your legs under you, and you're good to go. He did not necessarily do that.
See, I used to skateboard, and I gotta say, paddleboarding is a lot different, especially if you're on an inflatable, because with skateboards, they're harder.
Yeah.
So the way you control your ankles is just a little differently. That paddleboarding is hard at first to translate it until you've done it a bunch of times. At least it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The firmer the board, the easier it is. But.
Yeah, that was his takeaway as well. So trying to sit back down, he falls in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it very quickly becomes apparent that he is in trouble.
Oh no, is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. We're both fine.
Okay.
But there's a story. And so it's becoming apparent he's not a strong swimmer. And I knew this, but I was like, oh, he should be fine. And like, they didn't give us life jackets because tiny German village.
Oh, right. Okay.
And being in a situation where I have never needed a life jacket. I have swam across channels of the Lake of the Ozarks. I have swam across lakes in Kansas City. Like, if there is a body of water, I'm cool with it. I've swam alone in the ocean, which, again, how I have not ever died in my life is incredible. You should always tell people what you're up to. Just a side fact, yes.
That should be a takeaway. And always, if you are paddleboarding, always have a life jacket.
Yep.
If you're doing any kind of water sports, you should always have a knife with you in case a rope becomes entangled with you in any way. I need to practice what I preach as well.
So I dive off of my board and just swim towards him as quickly as I can, because I'm like, okay, let me just help him, because he kind of choked, and I was like, okay, let me just help him get his bearings and we'll get him on the board. And I get over to him, and this guy, for those of you who don't know, he is army skinny. He is nothing but muscle, no fat on this kid whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
he is.
He's not buoyant, to say the least. And so he can't float. He never learned how to float, even with what he's got, because everyone can learn how to float. But God was not on his side in the floating department.
You gotta get out there and teach him how to float.
If he's ever willing to go in water, yes. And so it's, I get over to him and I kind of pull him up, and, I'm like, okay, just get on your back, and, cough it out, because he kind of choked some when he fell. And I was like, okay, just cough it out. And very quickly, he is not able to calm down, and he is in a full-blown panic. And we are starting to get into a trouble scenario.
Oh, no.
And the paddle boards are in our splashing and thrashing, going further and further away from us.
Oh, you're not wearing any leg bands.
They did, because we're in the middle of a cheap German village that doesn't have.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yep. And so I'm like, okay. And I'm trying to, in a panic. I wasn't really necessarily in a panic, but like in this stress environment of like, okay, what do we do? And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm gonna get this figured out. We're right in the middle, 100% in the middle, like, of this circle. We are smack dab in the center. I don't know what that's called because I'm not good at math, but I remember that there's a term for it. Anyways.
The median.
Is it?
No.
Okay. You sounded so confident. I was like, yeah, go for it. Like, okay. Anyways, so we are very much in trouble at this point.
Mhm.
And I'm just trying to push him up. I keep getting my shoulder under his armpit, trying to push him out. And luckily, like I said, I'm a really strong swimmer. So I'm able to like just keep kicking, and I'm keeping us up. I'm pushing him up. I'm starting to take on water, which is starting to tire me out. I'm feeling my lungs kind of fill up a little bit. And I'm like, this is bad. And I was never scared. I keep using that word incorrectly when recounting this because I was never scared like for myself. I was like scared of losing it. I was just
The
pissed.
situation. Okay.
Well, no, I was angry because I
Okay.
keep like sinking, and the way that your panic brain works is that time goes so quickly but also so slowly. And as I'm like trying to swim down to the bottom to push up hard enough to get him up out so that he can have a minute's air, I'm just thinking to myself, this is the dumbest goddamn way to die. Like, who dies like this? Who dies
Together in a lake?
in the middle of a lake in a tiny German village? Like, this is so dumb. And I'm just like,
please don't have gone all the way to Germany to die in a lake.
I'm just so angry. And I'm like, and we're like less than like 15 minutes away from our house. Like, this isn't even a cool story. And so we're like very much in trouble. He held on to his oar, which I think is part of what got him in trouble, was that he would have tipped the board over the oar, but not being water experienced, he didn't realize that they're weighted to float a little bit.
Right.
So that was part of it. And so I was able to kind of push the oar down to kind of get leverage, because it was probably, my scope of things is pretty off, but it was probably 15 feet deep.
Okay.
Which is deep enough to kill you.
Yeah.
You can drown in 2 inches of water. So yeah.
All right.
And so I'm just pushing him. And as I'm swimming to the bottom, and it's very silty and seaweedy, or lake weedy, I guess, I just keep thinking of the freaking Goblet of Fire, speaking of Harry Potter earlier.
Oh, yeah.
When, like, they have to rescue their loved ones, and all the, like, Grindylows and mermaids are just like, only one, like, attack him, because I'm just feeling these weeds, and that's, like, the only vision in my mind is these sea creatures, and I'm just still trying to push him and just keep him up, and he starts to slip out of consciousness.
Oh, no.
And this is when things get really fucking scary.
Yeah.
Because he's starting to just kind of hover, and he's putting his face into the water. So I did exactly what you do in the movies. And
okay.
I hauled off, and I pulled my hand back a good 90 degrees, and I slapped him across the face. I grabbed him by the throat, picked up his chin, and screamed in his face, "Keep fucking fighting." And he was like, "Oh." And he kind of like, he woke up a little bit. He's still rough. Things are bad. And at this point, I'm starting to tire out because I'm keeping 2 human beings floating. And I remember that screaming for help is an option.
It's amazing how sometimes we don't think of that in the moment.
Well, because I was just survive.
Right.
And I was like, if I can just get us to these boards, it's fine. It's totally kosher. I'm good. Like, whatever. And then it's like, okay, that's not an option. Backup plan. Because I can see clear across to the other side that there are some young people, probably teenagers, on one of the pedal boats. And I was like, oh, if they can fucking come help me. And they're the only people I see. So it's them or nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, if these
They are your Carpathia.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, if these people don't help us, we're going to die. I mean, it had just become fact at that point. I was like, we are 50-50 going to die here today in this tiny German lake. And so I just, help! I mean, and that's like, I canceled recording with you the other day because I couldn't, I lost my voice. Like, I damaged my vocal.
You said you didn't have a voice. You didn't say you almost died.
Well, because like with your ghost story, I wanted to save it for the podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't be like my mom. If someone almost dies or goes, or the police are called, that's a non-podcast.
I'm sorry. So I'm screaming at these people in the pedal boat, and I'm just like, help, help. I think there were profanities involved. I think there was a fucking help me.
There should probably be.
At one point. And I'm facing him. I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, I want this to be the last thing I see before I die. And I'm just like no matter what happens, I'm gonna die fighting. Like, this is
Yeah.
my I survived true TV moment, is like, I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna, if I die right now, I will be on the other side knowing I fought until the last second. And I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting to feel myself kind of get groggy. And I just keep pushing him. And the next time that I come up from trying to go down to push him up with my force to like kind of propel against him, I open my eyes and there's 2 paddle boards right next to us with a young girl and a middle-aged man.
Oh my God, Brew!
And the guy pulls Darnell up like by his freaking board shorts, gets him up, and he's like, "Are you okay? Like, what's happening?" And he speaks German. The young lady is actually an American. Her dad's one of our chaplains. And so they pull Darnell up. I kind of just push myself to get my chest out of the water so I can kind of breathe. And I'm like, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay. Darnell coughs up a lot of water. We get him sitting on the boat, and he is very clearly in shock. I mean, he is gray. And he keeps kind of sauntering off to one side and off to the next. And I'm just like, hey, you stay away. Like, I'm yelling at him. I'm in front of the paddle board. I'm helping to swim him in. And I'm like, I'm so fucking tired. And finally, they collect our paddle boards and tie them together with the crappy little, they weren't ankle straps. They were just literally like pieces of like fishing line almost.
Okay.
And finally, they're like, okay, you get on one. I got it from here. And so I get on the next one. Come to find out that the people who rescued us, the young woman, Abigail, I'm going to say, she's not listening, but I need to speak her into existence.
But shout out to her.
She's a certified lifeguard.
Oh, fantastic.
And then we get on shore where we find out that the man who saved us, Steven, shout out to Steven, is a doctor.
How great is it that those are the 2 people that just happen to show up?
And so he runs a field test when we get Darnell out, and he's checking for how bad things are. Follow my finger with your eyes, and listening to his chest, all that. And I mean, he's okay. He was kind of in shock. We got some water out of him and kept him awake for a little while and just sat there, and we lived.
Whoa, I'm glad you're alive. Oh my God.
So am I. And this is going to be the true test of if my mom listens to this, because I haven't exactly told her. Mostly just because I don't want her to worry.
Right.
But, like, I hope she doesn't find out from the podcast. So, Mom, I love you if you're listening.
Can we get Darnell in some swimming lessons, please?
I plan to give him some swimming lessons. And, like, he was like, I asked him later, I was like, so why did you not tell me? Like, were you not comfortable going out there? And he's like, I'm in the Army, man. I'm used to doing stuff that could kill me. I'm like, okay, but this is not the Army. This is like a chill day with your wife. Yeah. And he was like, oh yeah, okay. So yeah. But so hold on, I need a drink after all that.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
I will join you in the drink after all that.
Okay, so after this, like, and in the middle of this, we lose everything, right? Like, I'm wearing a hat, I'm wearing sunglasses, he's wearing a hat, he's wearing sunglasses. They managed to rescue his hat. Which, like, how they rescued us and his hat is bananas. My hat and sunglasses, his sunglasses are all gone. And while we're sitting kind of in the shade, just trying to get our bearings, I'm getting him to sip some cool water, like, okay, don't die, like, stay awake. He looks down, and he just kind of like, he's still kind of in shock. He's kind of on the edge. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I lost my wedding ring.
Oh,
no. And so, as we've discussed in this episode with my honey knowledge and the fact that I literally make dandelion wine and I am the person that I am, I'm very much a believer in offerings. I think, keeping an elemental balance. I burn sage, I talk to my ancestors, like that's my personal jam. But I'm a lot more of an element person. Okay. And so had I had the forethought to, like, in this mindset, say something, I'd have been like, well, I guess the lake needed that to let us have free passage. But that is not what I said.
What did you say?
So
did you offend an elemental in Germany in a lake? So
in this moment, what I said was, oh, well, that makes sense. It was a gift to the water spirit.
Okay.
Which as I said that, which is not how I speak, like I said, I would have said it's a gift to the lake, or it's
Yeah.
a gift to the water. I was like, why did I say that? But it felt so right that I was like, that's
Uh-huh.
weird. Okay, whatever. I'm going to make sure we don't die. I called the nurse's line to make sure that I didn't need to bring him in or whatever. And so we get home, get chill, just kind of, oh my God, hold each other for a little bit and just feel really grateful and humbled and all that. And I look it up because I'm like, that was weird that I said that, because it felt like I knew to say it. And it was very weird. And so that Google search brings us to my real story for tonight.
I am so into this episode already.
I should almost die more often.
No, you should not. I'm not saying that. I don't condone that. Neither of you need to die in Germany.
Fair.
During a plague, paddleboarding.
Right? Like, how dare I die of paddleboarding?
Right, there are so many more interesting ways to go in our current environment.
Literally, yeah. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about the Nyx.
Nyx?
Nyx?
Oh, NYX.
Yeah, NIX.
NIX, okay.
Yeah.
So NYX is a goddess.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll let you take it from there.
So the Nyx, Neck, or Nixie, are all spirits which dwell in calm rivers or lakes in England, Germany, and Nordic countries.
Oh. Wait, the Americas never get any cool things like that. Nobody brought them all over from the old world or anything.
We don't there's an American equivalent of Nessie, but I don't remember what it's called.
Champ.
Oh,
I did a whole episode about him.
No, there's another one that I was thinking of. It's got a weird name. It's not Champ. I know about Champ. I don't know. We have a couple. Yeah. You're like, I did a whole episode. Okay.
Were you not listening? Champ is my homeboy. That was Nessie's my homeboy.
I listened to these twice because I have to edit them, okay? I'm sorry.
All right.
I almost died. It's the brain damage talking.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so the Nyx love music, and they're quite talented musicians. They are shapeshifters and can take the form of humans, merpeople, snakes, fish, sunken treasure, or horses.
Ooh!
Yeah. So in their human form, they're quite beautiful and regal, but they don't look quite right. Like, their ears and eyes are a little bit pointed, in almost like a sea monster-y kind of way.
Okay.
And they may have green or blue tinted hair and skin. They may even have gills, bulbous eyes, and webbed feet and hands.
I'm picturing, like, the sea monkey drawings.
Yes. I had to battle sea monkeys. It all comes back.
So kind of like a merp person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So in their horse form, they are either white or light gray.
They can turn into horses too.
Yes, and sunken treasure. Right. Yeah. And
okay, once again, Jessie would lose that battle against the Fays because I like magnet fishing, I like diving for things and underwater metal detecting. I would lose to the Fays again if they disguise themselves as sunken treasure.
Dude, you are just such a Fae magnet. You're a changeling, dude. You got switched at birth and now you're trying to go home.
Something.
You're a fairy baby. You're like, you are like Will Ferrell.
Either that or, like, the fairies really don't want me and they're like, why does she keep trying to get captured by us?
Can we make a movie called Fae that's like the female equivalent of Elf, and instead of an elf coming from the North Pole to New York, it's like you coming from the Midwest to try and get in the fairy world?
I was a changeling.
Yes.
Oh, free snacks. Oh, sunken treasure.
Beautiful. So when they are in their horse form, they're either white or light gray, and they're more beautiful than your average horse. But they
I think the horses of the world are a little pissed off by that, but okay.
I mean, I didn't make the rules.
A little entitled, but sure. Okay.
So they look like water beings because their manes are full of aquatic weeds and are permanently wet. So.
Okay, so like on a scale of horse attractiveness, from like your average horse to Pegasus to unicorn, where about would these fall?
A solid BoJack Horseman. No, I'm totally kidding.
I'd put him on the low end.
I don't know.
Probably lower than a regular horse.
Oh, it's the alcoholism. So during the Romantic era, Nyx were seen as potential lovers for human beings. When the Nyx chooses a human partner, the human struggles to resist returning their feelings. So you're like 100% taken by these guys if they choose you as a mate.
I mean, been there.
Yeah, those water spirits, man. He showed up as a horse one day and I was like, what are you going to do?
That just sounds like Zeus.
You're not wrong. So most Nyx human relationships come to a bittersweet end since the Nyx can't leave the water for very long, despite being deeply devoted to their human love interest. So if a Nyx is away from its body of water for too long, it will die, not because it's aquatic, but it will die from being too sad.
Oh, that's sad.
It's like, I'm so
Immediately,
homesick.
that makes me think of Orlando Bloom's character in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, I was going to say Legolas, but yeah, that one works too, and it's probably more fitting for water.
Okay.
I was like, he was
Well,
so
you know how he
pretty.
can't leave the ocean, but once whatever.
That's true. I was thinking that Legolas is more pretty than the average horse.
We went two different ways with it.
Hey, I have a thing for elves. You get magicians.
So are we gonna call this episode Legolas is prettier than the average horse?
Uh-huh. End the episode now. It's over. We've peaked.
Thanks for joining us on Supposedly.
Follow us. Like and subscribe.
Okay.
So, all right. I'm really
They get
struggling.
sad.
They do.
They leave the water, they get sad.
And they die of being sad, which is such an extra move. I love it.
Melancholia.
Right, they are the Grey Lady. So all Nyxes are able to sing beautifully, and many of them play instruments. Their music is said to be able to hypnotize listeners into coming into the water to either seduce them or kill them. The male version of the Nyx is said to have more power over women and children, while the female version entrances grown men. But that feels super heteronormative, because, like, I mean...
And the children thing's a little creepy.
Yeah, and also, like, are you really looking that close to gender a horse? Because, like...
But they're not always a horse.
They're not. They're kind of similar to sirens and other water entities. I said water.
Water entities.
Water entities. It's a lot of T sounds. The Nyx are often murderous and prone to drowning people after they lure them into the water. If you learn the creature's name and you speak it, it will immediately die.
I just want to know what frickin' Nyx siren bitch was trying to get her hands on Darnell.
I'm a little jealous.
And took his ring.
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me, Legolas. He's mine. And back on the women versus men Nyx or Nyxies, I feel like he would 100% be more inclined to follow a Legolas type than a just generic chick.
Can we call the male Nyx Nyxicles?
Sure.
I don't know, just to differentiate.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, if you learn the creature's name and speak it, it'll die. So, in early legends, it is said that dropping a piece of silver or iron into a Nyx's body of water will buy you safe passage.
Gotta ask, what was Darnell's ring made out of?
Gold-plated tungsten.
Oh, well, maybe they've upped their offering qualities.
So, they're seen in the, I don't speak German, Nibelungenlied, which is an
Oh,
epic...
that is definitely not German.
Nibelungenlied, I don't fucking know. I almost died, give me a break. Which is an epic poem dating back to around 1200, originally written in High German.
Ooh, fancy.
420 blaze it. No, I'm kidding. High German.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, yeah.
What you did there. I see what you did there.
It was good.
But I see what you did there.
You usually like my dad jokes. I'm offended.
I do.
So the idea of the Nyx was used in Wagner's Das Rheingold, which tells the story of a golden ring forged by the Nibelung dwarf Alberic from gold he stole from the Rhine maidens in the river, who are the guardians of the Rheingold, a treasure of gold hidden in the Rhine River. Wagner based the maidens off the legends of the Nyx.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So further on in the story, the Rhine maidens are seen trying to regain the ring and transform it back into the harmless Rheingold, but no one will return the ring to them, not even the supreme god Wotan, who uses the ring to pay the giants Fasolt and Fafnir for building Valhalla, nor the hero Siegfried when the maidens appear to him in the third act of Götterdämmerung. Eventually, Brunhilde returns it to them at the end of the story when the fires of her funeral pyre cleanse the ring of its curse. So there is some
kind of metal
ring action happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was really fucking weird to me.
Is tungsten metallic? I mean, not metallic. Oh my god, magnetic.
It is. I don't know.
Is tungsten magnetic? Because I would say, get out there with a magnet fishing kit, see if you can recover it.
I mean, we already replaced it. It's gonna arrive here in a couple days.
Cool.
So the Nyx have been influential in development of other mythical creatures. Kelpies from the Scandinavian culture are related to the Nyx, as both are water creatures and both frequently appear on land as horses, with the intent of luring humans into the water and drowning them.
Wait.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. The Kelpie is also a water spirit horse creature.
Yes.
But not the same water spirit horse creature.
It's Scandinavian, so it's probably one of them was the original, and then it moved, and as it moved, it changed names and story. Yeah.
Okay.
As the Kelpies usually appear monstrous and as black horses. So somewhere the story got kind of Game of Telephoned and changed a little bit.
Or they just have a different breed over there.
Or that. And so this is kind of creepy to me too. So the Nyx were also instrumental in the development of the lore of Grindylows.
Which is?
From Harry Potter.
Okay.
They're the scary mer people, which is all I was thinking of as I was trying not to die.
Right.
Which was like, I mean, obviously my brain goes there because Harry Potter, but I was like, that's weird that one specific thing that I was thinking of as I was drowning was
also, yeah.
But yeah. So like the Nyx, they are dangerous water They are dangerous water beings who grab and drown humans when they venture within reach. Unlike the Nyx, Grindylows commonly inhabit bogs and marshes and have no association with music. So, and most recently, we've seen a version of the Nyx, which is the Knock in Frozen 2, which takes the form of the water elemental horse, which rocks Elsa's world until she's able to tame it, and then it takes her to the place that keeps singing to her, and she gets to talk to her ancestors and such.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, what you're telling me is an elemental tried to steal Darnell and just kept his ring as a safe passage. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so, before we get off on our tangent, I do want to say I used mythology.net, Wikipedia, Disney Wiki, and BBC.
Citing your sources because you make me do it.
I'm sorry. But yeah, so, like I said, I'm not saying that there's a connection because I am a woman of science, but I am saying the fact that my instant thought was water spirit when that is not typically how I think. And the fact that there is a mythology specific to Germany about spirits which live in lakes and like gold is
and take rings.
Weird to me. And the fact that like literally, I mean, we would have died. Like there's no other way around it. And the fact that we didn't die and the ring was gone, I'm like, okay, you know what? Even if it's not legit and the mythology has nothing to do with it, I'm gonna let it be.
I freaking love that story. I'm so glad you shared that.
Yeah, no, it was wild. I couldn't not tell you.
No, of course you couldn't not tell me.
Yeah. So, we didn't die.
My mind is still just freaking blown from that.
Yeah, we didn't die. It was definitely the wildest, like, 10 minutes of my life.
I don't want you to die in a lake in Germany paddleboarding.
I don't either. And, like, it's weird because, like, I don't know how traumatized I am. Like, I still hope I really like water because, like I said, I love water.
Yeah.
So I don't know that Darnell will ever get in water with me again.
I think he needs to. I think he needs to have some swimming lessons. I think you need to come up with a way to teach him how to float.
Yeah.
And I think you have to defeat that fear.
Yeah. No, even just last night, we were, like, looking at where we might want to travel to next as, like, things are safe. And I was like, I want to swim the English Channel. And he was like,
what did he say?
He's like, I'll root for you from the side. But no, I think I'll be fine. I'm a little traumatized. Just like, I mean, I had some like PTSD at first, and it may still be there. I had a lot of trouble sleeping the first couple nights, just because it was a life or death thing. Like,
Have you had any weird dreams since?
I mean, I always have weird dreams. Darnell had some weird dreams, and like as I was lying awake, Dr. Googling myself about like, you know, what to do if you start to notice PTSD, because like as we talk about on this show, mental health is very real, and I already have some diagnoses that I was like, okay, let me get on the front end of this, because like while we got so lucky and while it wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened to somebody, it's still trauma. I mean, I almost watched him
it's
die.
Still scary.
Yeah.
Scary, yeah.
I mean, like I watched him lose consciousness, and so I was like,
and
okay.
I know you would have gone down with him trying to fight to make him.
Sure. Yeah. I was like, either neither of us are dying or both of us are dying here. I was like, I'm not going to be like, well, time for me to get back on the door. I'll never let you go, Jack. Like, nah.
Yeah.
We taking turns on this door, baby.
You're float or die.
Yep, float or die. Oh, that might be the episode title. But yeah, so I was like, okay, like let me look at what PTSD can manifest as, just so that if I do see some of the, because I mean, as we know, mental health is not a monolith, and no diagnosis is a monolith, and so while I think through media we have a idea of PTSD, which is panic attacks and flashbacks, that's not what it looks like for everyone. And so I was like, okay, if I don't have the symptoms that I'm aware of, you know, what could that look like? And actually, I read a lot about sleep problems, and fun fact, sleep paralysis is a lot more common in people who've had near-death experiences or trauma, because of your body's panic response.
Oh man, I can relate to that. I had bad sleep paralysis for probably about 6 months one time. And it was right after a very, very traumatic event in my life. My boyfriend at the time, who was my best friend for 10 years, him and I really think had this event not happened, we probably would have gotten married and everything like that. But his brother took his life. And just to be clear, the boyfriend's brother took the brother's life.
Right.
So it's, my boyfriend was still alive, but his brother, who was a very close friend of mine, took his life, and it was very traumatic on all of us. It was in a pretty violent way, and for 6 months after, I had the most death-defying sleep paralysis I've ever had in my life, because I was just so afraid my boyfriend was going to follow his brother, to be honest with you, because they were just so close. Yeah, it was tragic.
That's rough.
Survivor's guilt is a whole thing.
Yeah, it really
so,
is.
Yeah, keep an eye out for sleep paralysis, definitely.
Yeah, so, but no, the next morning, Darnell said that he had a dream, and it was literally like that TV show. He woke up and, like, went to tell me about it, and then he woke up, and then something else was happening, and then he finally woke up for real.
Oh,
so he had one of those, like, dream and a dream and a dream. And that was something I read, was that, like, the line between wakefulness and sleep can be blurred after trauma.
Interesting.
So, yeah, which I think at that point, because that was that night, I think it was just the initial come down. Because, I mean, we were both pretty keyed up for the first 2 days or so.
Yeah.
I will say, I've never felt more badass. Like, if you want to feel confident.
You are a badass. Do you not know like, how much of a badass you are?
Well, but it changed, like, all of my perspective. Because I think that, you know, self-confidence is a thing I think most people struggle with. And a lot of that is, like, our bodies and our own belief of ourselves. And I was like, you know, as many people, and especially I think women, are trained to do, I got my own body issues and such. And I was like, dude, every bit of squish on me is what allowed me to be buoyant enough. My thick thighs and big booty are full of strong muscles, which helped me kick like hell to keep us floated. Like, everything about my body is why I'm alive. And so I'm like, you know what? It's all good, homie. Like, we good. So have a near-death experience and you'll run the world. Like,
so you gotta keep me updated on all this, because you know, near-death experiences have been pretty well documented with awakening of psychic abilities, and I know Darnell has said many times he's not as aware of some things as, say, you and I are.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to see if he starts to become more aware.
It definitely will. It definitely will. And that's kind of part of why I was, like, so surprised at, like, the words falling out of my mouth. And I just, like, had this instinctual knowledge of mythology that I'd I'd never heard of the Knicks before. And I was just like, let me
That's so cool.
look it up. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a whole German thing, and they live in lakes. And I was like, cool, I almost died in a fucking lake.
Germany.
So that's my story.
Maybe take it a nice coin and throw an extra little something in the lake for it.
Toss a coin to your witcher.
You know, just a little something extra. Thanks, lake. Thanks, Knicks.
Lake. Yep. Hope you like my Royals hat.
Oh man, and the fact that a doctor and a lifeguard.
Literally, and like that I hadn't seen. Like they
you
must have
couldn't
come
get
from a complete
any
other side. No.
Luckier than that.
Nope. It was because like it wasn't even the people I was trying to flag down. I'm not Christian in my faith, but like that was some divine intervention angel shit, because like turned around, came back up out the water, and they were just there, and I was like, I literally did not see y'all. Like, you just manifested. And I was glad that I saw the guy after we'd gotten out. Like, we were about to leave once we composed ourselves. And I was glad to see him, like, on land chilling with his family. I was like, okay, you're a real person. Because at first
it's not just like we get to shore and we look back and they're gone.
Yeah. Right. I was like, no, you're real. I saw you, motherfucker. So... yeah, because I was like, where the hell did a literal doctor and lifeguard come from?
That's amazing.
It was funny because I was listening to My Favorite Murder a couple days ago, and I'm like listening out of order because I'm caught up for recent stuff, and I'm like going back through the old catalog. And one of their stories was about a woman who survived a plane crash. Like, she was the sole survivor in like Peru.
Oh, damn it. I was going to do that one. I have.
Oh, please do. I want to know everything about it. I want to read her book.
I think it's the same one. I think it's the same one.
But they were talking about it, and it's like 48 hours after this happened to me. I'm on a run because I'm like determined to become the strongest woman alive. I'm like, I need to work on my cardio so my breath can be held longer, so I can be badass, and I'm going to work on my upper body strength so I can just carry a bitch to shore. Like, let's go. And I'm like listening to this story as I'm like walking up to where I like to run at, and they're telling about this tale, and I'm just like, I could do that. I can't do that. Let's be clear. I don't know what plants in Peru to eat. I don't know how to survive crocodiles. Like, I could, but like my ego is just so, I am Kanye freaking West right now. I'm like, yeah, plane crash, her like collarbone's broken. I'm like, that's nothing. I got this.
I'll be honest with you guys, if I'm ever in a situation like that, I'm dead. I'm not even going to try to survive. You know, I'm not going to be that person that eats the seafood and the rocks and the bugs and stuff. I'm just going to try to find shelter, and then when I get bored of that, I'm going to hit myself in the head with a big rock and go night-night forever. That would be my solution.
See, I think I have a very big survival instinct just out of stubbornness, which for someone who had such dark years as an adolescent with mental health, it's amazing how hard I'm willing to fight to stay alive, when like years ago I'd been like, nah, let something kill me. Let's go.
Good.
But no, like, I think I could survive a lot. Like, I think I could handle most of Castaway. The part that I could not handle is when he has to take out his bad tooth with an ice skate. Yeah. That's where it's over. Like, I'll kill the crabs. Me and Wilson will be homies. We'll be chilling. I'll get a little bored because I want to read something. I'm probably going to write like a whole ass book out there, maybe like a musical too. But
the rescue boat pulls up and Ruth's like, oh, Wilson, let me tell you a tale. keep paddling, guys.
It's not Hamilton, it's Wilson.
Yeah.
But no, like, all that's
Wilson
cool,
the musical.
But let me have to take out a freaking tooth with an ice skate, and I'm out. I quit. Game over. I'm gonna die of that sepsis in my face. No. I'll do everything else. I'll not drown. I'll eat the crab. I'm not doing the ice skate extraction.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna make it that far, guys. I'll be honest. Like, here's the parts of survival I'm great at. I could build a shelter really well.
Yeah.
I could gather things pretty darn easily. I'm a maker. I could make pots and bowls and stuff like that. When it comes to having to eat living creatures directly from the ground and hunt them and catch them, I could probably catch them, but I don't know if and then the loneliness, that I'd be done. I'd be done.
So at Christmas, we had a Tom Hanks marathon. I'm sorry, I'm really on Castaway right now. At the end of the movie when they return him and he's like about to have his press conference,
AF.
Do you know what they feed him for his grand spread?
It's been a while. Tell me.
It's
Remind me.
goddamn crab legs and sushi.
No!
Which, like, to us is, like, opulent, like, oh, yes, then we have some crab legs. But, like, this dude has eaten nothing but raw fish and crabs for, like, a year. Give this man a steak.
Part of me also wonders if, like, what that would do to your system, though, if you've only been on a particular diet for a year and then you suddenly are back with American food, like, you're going to be spending your next year of life on the toilet.
Oh, 100%. But, like, I don't know, give me some broth or something. I never want to look at another crab in my life. Like, you know, I love some broccoli right about now. Like, give me something.
You guys got a good zucchini up in here?
Right. Give me some tofu. I don't care. I want everything. I want a bag of Cheetos. Like
milkshake.
Yes. Yes. But yeah. So that's what's up.
You survived.
I survived. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah.
Okay. I don't even want to go this week.
Okay.
I don't. I think this is the episode.
Are you
okay.
sure?
I'm positive. I just want to keep the focus on your story for this week because that's,
okay.
I mean, that's such a cool story. Like, there's no, I'd hate to go from that in your tale of survival and the Nick spirits to like, oh, and by the way, they did a lot of really messed up things to people here.
I'm sorry to like
first.
What's the Bogart? I'm sorry to Bogart the whole episode.
No, I'm glad that you did because I mean, you can't get any better than that. I mean, how many life and death experiences are you gonna have?
Yeah,
you know,
no, it was funny.
It gets a whole episode.
Oh yeah,
and you get an episode, and you get an episode.
Okay, so next week I think maybe you should get a whole episode. Like you said, it's a deep dive.
I'll take it over. It's a deep dive. Next week I will do Topeka State Hospital in deep dive. All right, so I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but we need to start agreeing on a sign we're going to leave each other if we die because you nearly went and we didn't have our code word or whatever for the median.
Yeah.
Median. Did I say median again? I'm very Look, I had some cold medicine this morning.
I don't know. What would yours be?
Well, I have a sign of things I would leave people.
Okay.
I'm gonna text it to you,
okay,
so no one can ever fake it.
No 6 people that listen.
Okay, yeah. So it's a metal Coca-Cola lid.
Oh, okay, a pop tab.
Yeah, no, not a pop tab.
Oh, okay.
Like from a glass bottle.
Cap.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola
okay,
red ones. That's what I would leave to let you know I was hanging about
right
or
on.
saying hi. What would you leave me? Zach Baggins memes?
Okay, I wouldn't leave you this, but it just popped into my head. How fucked up would it be if someone's death pact was to just, like, leave condoms? Like, can you imagine if, like, you're on a date or something and you, like, reach into your wallet and you're like, oh, my friend Rue visited. And it's like, your date's like, how do you know? And she's like, oh, I just found this condom. And your date would be like, sure you did. Like, in the most inopportune moments. Or like,
please don't leave me condoms.
I won't. But how fucked up? You're driving home and you're like, oh, it's sunny. I'm going to pull down the visor. And like, a fucking Trojan packet just falls down from the sky.
Thanks, Rue.
No, I wouldn't do that. I don't know what I'd leave.
I don't know, but now if you die and I start getting condoms out of nowhere, I'm gonna be like,
I'll be like, this is the best I could do. Oh God, yeah. But no, so you can find us on the socials: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at supposedlypod.
Or give us an email at supposedlypod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear any stories you have, any survival tales maybe you want to tell us, or anything you want us to cover. Yeah. We'd love to hear it. Or just say hi. We're one of your 6 listeners. We'd like that too.
And if you have it in your heart to follow us or share or rate, that would be outstanding.
Yeah, eventually we'd like to do a Patreon after we actually get listeners. That way we can make the audio sound better because we'd have real microphones and stuff.
At some point I am hoping to get a real microphone, but it is sometimes a challenge to find things that can ship to where I live.
Yeah, and I just don't have a lot of money. So,
And that.
jo-
Join
join
us
us
next
next
time
time on
on
supposedly.
Supposedly.
Okay, we
Oh,
gotta redo that.
yeah. Or we
Yeah.
don't. Maybe it was
Okay.
perfect. Okay.
Okay. Join us next time on
Supposedly.
supposedly.
That was better.
That was way better.
Yes.